Right. Yeah, go for it.
Assalamu alaikum, Pops.
Walaikum assalam, son.
How are you this week?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. You?
Good, thanks. Nice hat.
Thank you very much.
What's happening, people? It's your boy FND and FND Senior. We're in our fourth or fifth week, I think, of these podcasts. Fourth week, yeah. Thank you for your support, everybody. Thank you for watching them. I'm getting a lot of amazing feedback.
I think it's fifth. Anyway,
Is it fifth? Whatever it is. Wherever it is, guys, thank you very much for your support. The feedback is brilliant.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep them going for now, and hopefully you'll continue to enjoy them. Dad, anything we talk about before we start this week's email? This week's email is a little bit different than usual, but...
Yeah, but before that, I had a phone call from Sweden. Somebody's watching it from there.
Sweden?
Yeah, and I've had a phone call from Pakistan.
Standard.
Yeah, so obviously...
I've had a couple of phone calls from Dubai, a couple of phone calls from the UK.
Okay.
I think that's about it, really.
Oh, well, okay, good. Right, okay, so...
So we were actually inundated with requests for us to talk about the wedding because we touched on the wedding last podcast. Okay. But I decided to talk about an email instead. The wedding we can talk about any time, but this email...
if there is time, we can,
Yeah. So...
We can mix and match kind of thing.
So,
what's the email?
By the way, just to mention quickly, between this last podcast and this podcast, there's been a lot of bad things happening in Syria and Turkey in terms of earthquakes.
Yeah, prayers for all of those people.
Yeah.
Allah Almighty help them all, and definitely going to do some contribution.
Yeah, of course. Every little helps, guy. Even a small amount of money will help.
But
so
need to know.
I
mean, I personally need to know who was the best organization to give the money to, please.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That's hard, especially after working in the charity sector for a little bit.
Yeah,
it's very difficult to trust charities. A lot of them, so you got to find the right one. So if you guys recommend any, then drop a DM or drop a comment.
They all have to take their own cut out anyway. But the thing is, who takes the minimum rather than
and who's doing the most? Who's doing the most
work on the ground?
Yeah.
But definitely do that.
So today's email.
Mm-hmm.
Again, keep it anonymous. And it's a very long email, so I've got to try and cut it down a little bit. So let me have a quick look here. Okay, this guy's 21 years of age.
Okay.
This guy started selling drugs at 21.
Wow.
Sold weed as a street dealer for about a year and did decent. But with that life, you take losses and certain things happen, obviously.
Yeah.
Lost about £60,000 and got depressed, as you would.
Yeah.
Started to work a normal job, and then at 23, I started to import Cali weed from LA, California, LA.
Okay.
This went well, and I was doing okay for about 2 years.
Yeah.
But I blew my money a lot on stupid things.
Right.
Money comes easy, goes easy, guys.
Absolutely. You should know that.
I know that better than most. Fell out with my best friend who was my business partner.
Yeah.
Now I work for the NHS and I sell bulk weed on the side. Wow. I really am trying to stop, but I get brought back in for the love of money. I try hard, but recently I'm at the last string in my job. What do? I'm really wanting to stop this life, but I feel like I'm forced not to because of the stuff at work. The white people at work put me through because I'm Pakistani. I have stopped smoking weed, which I was a very, very chronic smoker of, but I still can't stop selling weed. The money is too good for my work, cannot pay me monthly of 10% from my weekly weed profit. What do you think I should do? Weed doesn't hurt anyone. At 21, I was also selling crack and heroin for a short period. There's a lot more to the email, but that's the key information I thought I'd share there.
Right, okay. Right, before I go into advising anybody anything, when there is some film coming on or there's a drama or whatever, then there's always warning. So there's a warning, first of all, that I am not expert in anything, neither is Harris. We just talk about the life experiences, and especially my experiences. I lived in 4 different countries. I've done dozens of different jobs and stuff, and I met with different people and stuff. So based on all that, I just give you a general kind of information. So this is not set in stone. You don't have to follow it. And if you in doubt, please get a second opinion from somebody else. Thank you very much. So that's to start with. Second thing, very unfortunate. This child has got into this kind of circle. But it is very easy. People can do that everywhere. It doesn't have to be in UK. People do it in Pakistan. People do it all over the world. You can easily get into that. There are so many different reasons why you get into that. Money being the main one, obviously. The luxury, the car, the competition nowadays in this day and age going on between youngsters to better and better car to drive. Better house, better car, designer clothes. All these things just completely plays with your minds, youngsters, and that's where, if you don't have the means, legal means, then you turn into whatever the means you can. Yeah. But one thing I can say for complete certainty, that the haram money will give you some pleasure, maybe very, very temporarily, periodically, for a very short period of time. But in the long run, trust me, I can give you guarantee that in the long run, you will lose more than what you have gained. Within your own little email, I can obviously see there has been times when they have had big losses. Also, it will affect your health. It will affect your family's health because it's haram money. But you have got into that. That's the thing, and you have enjoyed the benefits of that, whatever those benefits are. So when you go down that road, it's very, very difficult. It's slippery slope, and it's very, very, very difficult to come out of that. And then you make excuses that you just made in your email that weed doesn't hurt anybody. That's not true. Scientifically, if you find out that weed maybe doesn't do as much harm as other drugs do, but it is not harm-free. That's for sure. Ask any doctor, anybody, that it is not harm-free. So there is harm being done to people. I think one of the major things it creates is the schizophrenia, I think.
Paranoia,
schizophrenia. Yeah. If you done it, too much of that. I don't know what quantity you can do. Be safe, but so now you have to look at 2 or 3 things. I cannot make you stop it. You can make you stop. Nobody else in the world can make you stop. Apart from Allah Almighty, if He puts into your head, you'll stop. The second thing is you're yourself. How you can do that yourself is you got to sit down and look at your life and think, fine, that you have a decent car, you can go out and, party with big money and buy designer clothes and stuff like that. But in the long run, how is it going to affect your health? You're going to get married, you're going to have children. How is it going to affect your children? If you have this haram money got into this position, I can guarantee you that if you can't continue with this, when you have your own children, they will be getting worse, not better. They'll be going into fields which I don't even want to mention here, that they might end up. You have daughters or sons, whoever, trust me, with haram money, there is no good going to come out of it at the end of the day. In the long run, it is a loss, and a loss. So that's all I can say to you, because I'm not an expert in these things, but I'm telling you that you have a job, you have tried, so you are a decent person. At heart, you are a decent person. From this little email, I can gather so many different things. And one of them is that at heart, you're a decent person, because if it is in your heart that you want to stop, that's the first step, my brother, my son, whatever you want me to call you. Once you have that, you need to build on that. You can have a decent job. It might not pay you that much, but it will be halal. And halal money goes a lot further than the haram one does. So it's your choice, it's your decision. If you previously have sold bad things and you stopped, you can stop this one as well. All it needs is a willpower and thinking about not just yourself, but also the effect it's going to have in your future life, to your children, your wife, the family you're going to have. I think that's all I can say about that, Harris, because obviously I'm not an expert in
it's
this
fine,
field
Dad.
and stuff
It's
like
fine.
that. The very basic thing I can tell you is that you can do it. That's for sure. I am 100% sure that you can do it, but it is up to you. Little steps. I'm not saying that you just do it tomorrow morning and you get up in the morning and no, you think about it. Who you giving it to? How many people are taking that from you? Look into that as well in detail. Is that harming? How many people is already done the damage to? Look around you. I mean, you work in a hospital, isn't it?
Yeah, NHS,
Is that what you said?
NHS.
Yeah. So if you work in a hospital, you will see people who have come down because drug-related people who are there in the hospital, or for other reasons who are there. They got poorly for one reason or the other. Either they, because of the drinks or the drugs and stuff, or the lifestyle, which they have led because of that. So let that be, say, a project for yourself. Make it into a project that, I mean, simple example, I mean, it's nowhere near equal example, but when I used to smoke, I used to smoke 2 packs of cigarettes every day, Harris.
Yeah, remember.
Benson Hedges, 2 packets every day. And then I tried a number of times and I couldn't stop it, because every time I stop for 3 or 4 days, I end up with a friend or somebody, they're smoking, I'll have just 1 cigarette and I'll leave. But the willpower is that one day I decided that this is a packet of cigarette. This is up there. I put it on top of the shelf. I said, if I really, really get desperate, I will smoke 1 cigarette, but I'll see how long I can go. So from there, I went into 1 day to 3 days to 5 days to 2 weeks to month. After 1 year, I threw that packet away, because after that, I just didn't want to smoke. So
You never smoked a cigarette
ever again. In fact, it got so bad that people who used to smoke near me, I used to get annoyed as well. And I mean, I can now smell a smoker from yards away. I mean, anybody walking down the street, and if I'm standing in front of my door, I can smell the smoke on them and the weed.
And now every time I smoke shisha and put something on my Instagram story, my dad DMs me on Instagram with a shocked face. Yeah. Every single time I put a story up.
And the weed, I can smell from miles away as well.
The weed.
Well, this, whatever you call it.
That's it.
Yeah, hashish, weed, whatever, yeah. Grass.
No, I'm just joking. As you say,
weed. And there is a story behind that as well, but I'm not going to say why I can smell that so badly. Yeah. So
I don't know what the story is.
You don't even know. I know. So nobody knows that story, so I'm not going to go into that. That was my college days back home in Pakistan.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We went to a place called Maypur. And there's a place called Dadial. And we got there and we bought something called chittar from there.
Okay.
I did not know. A couple of my friends were doing it. All of this, I said, no, I'm not going to tell the story. I'm telling
Just tell the story.
So I'll tell the story. So obviously that might be a lesson there as well. So I swear to God, to start with, I did not used to do that, and I had no intention of doing that. So I'm just sworn that I did, right? But few of my friends, especially we went there because you could get pure thingy. So they filled up their cigarettes and stuff, and I was a smoker, and so we went for a meal about 3rd day in there. We were staying in a hotel. One of our friends, older brother, used to work in a bank over there. So we, obviously he invited us there. So we ended up in a restaurant for food, and I ran out of cigarettes. So I asked my friend if I could borrow one, and he gave it to me. But he forgot to tell me that 2 or 3 of them were already prepared cigarette in there. So Harris had 3 of those, In those days when you smoke, I mean, it used to go down really deep. You go. After the 3rd one, and I just couldn't swallow the food.
Okay.
It kind of got stuck here.
Okay.
So I ran out of the restaurant on the main road because I thought I was choking, and I tried to get that thing out of my throat. And then next thing I know, I just went dizzy and I fell on the floor.
Really?
I don't know what happened next, but I woke up, I think nearly 36 or 48 hours later.
Oof.
Right? My friends had picked me up, took me home, and I still can't remember exactly, but it was more than 24 hours. I was off, kind of. And then when I woke up, I was really, really upset that it had happened. They stayed for another week. Very next day, I got the bus and I came back. When I came back for 2-3 days, I just couldn't sleep.
Okay.
I just could not sleep. I would be laying there in the middle of the night, trying my best. Third day, my grandma, may Allah rest her soul, she was old, so she used to get up 2-3 times in the middle of the night as well. So she saw me walking around and she said, "What's the matter? 2-3 days, you know?" I said, "I just can't sleep." So I don't know. I mean, older people are very wise people. And so my grandma said, "Go downstairs in the bathroom and get a bottle of oil." So it's called sarson ka tel. So she asked me to bring that, and I brought it, and she sat me down and she massaged my head for 15 minutes. Haris, I was sitting on the floor. She was sat on a cot.
Yeah.
Manji, it's called manji cot.
Yeah.
And I was sat on the floor and she massaged my head. Seriously speaking, Haris, I just laid down on the floor and fell asleep.
Really?
Yeah. What I think that does, I don't know, still know, somebody could tell me, the weed dries up your veins and stuff.
Maybe,
kind of thing.
yeah.
So it just completely, and because I had first time in my life and I had experience before and I didn't start it slowly, I just went completely berserk with, I thought I was just smoking a...
So you're taking big long drugs?
Yeah. I thought I was just smoking a
cigarette, yeah.
Yeah. So that's my experience. And from that day till today, I swear, I don't want to name the road, on a particular road, it's much better now, but there was a time I'd be driving down with the window open, and I could just smell.
Yeah, it's strong smell that.
And it's really, really very, 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 very sensitive to my so I'm really apologize about that story, but that was my student days. I was only, I think 21, 22 years of age in those days. But that was unknowingly, not knowingly. And after that, never again. So this is, I don't know why the story came out, but going back to the, because you didn't know it. But you see, this is the thing, you didn't even know. I mean, I've tell you most of my stuff, but you didn't know this.
Yeah.
And you've always asked me that, have you had any drink? Have I not always told you that I never ever touched the stuff. Because it's very easily, Haris, when you're here in the UK and stuff, and when you go out to night clubbing and stuff like that, because other people are doing it, you feel out of place kind of thing if not
peer pressure as well sometimes.
Yeah. But still, alhamdulillah, you have to have a will to be strong. And alhamdulillah, two things. There is a joke about some Pakistanis or some Asians coming over there, having a girl in one hand and the bottle in the other and asking for a halal food. That's quite common in there. In fact, I had a friend of mine. We went to college together, and I came here. And years later, I got a phone call from my brother. My brother said, "There is a friend of yours in my shop." I said, "Who is he?" He said, "He told me not to tell his name." I said, "Okay." So I went down to my brother's shop, and he was there. I'm not going to name him, and his wife and 2 daughters. Oh, hello, very nicely. I met them and I brought them home. Your mom made food and dinner and stuff like that. And I'm saying to him, the dinner's, he wanted to go after about an hour, after a cup of tea and drinks and stuff. He wanted to go. I said, "Oh, no, stay for dinner. Now dinner's nearly ready." And he kept saying, "Oh, no, I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to eat dinner. We're going to go." I said, "Listen." And then he made an excuse, said, "Oh, my daughters don't eat chili, so they won't." I said, "Don't worry about it. We'll eat food, what my wife is preparing. We'll go get a pizza for your daughters." I said, "Okay." So we went outside. And he told me in the car, he said, "Can I ask you a question if you don't mind?" I said, "Oh, no, yeah, sure, why not?" He said, "The reason I'm saying not going to eat because I'm not sure if your wife will make halal food or not." I said, "Okay." I said, "Listen, I can guarantee you, I can assure you that it will be halal food." He said, "Okay." So we went to order the pizza. We ordered the pizza. I came back and sat in the car. And he said, "How long going to be?" I said, "It's quite busy at the moment." He said, "About 15 to 20 minutes." He said, "Oh, we got time." I said, "Why?" He said, "Can we go for a glassy then?"
Glassy
For a
drink.
Yeah.
Oh, no
Can you
kids.
go for a beer? On one hand, he's telling me
Yeah, no kids.
that, yeah. So I said, so I said, kept quiet there. I didn't say anything to him. Came home
Yeah.
in front of his wife and children. I said, "Listen, my food in my house."
Did you enjoy a drink?
Yeah, no. I said like this. I said, "Listen, this food in my house, my wife cooked, is halal food because I buy it, and my wife knows exactly how to cook it and stuff like that. And I can tell you one more thing is that my wife is English, and since she married, she became Muslim. She hasn't touched anything, and I have never in my life touched a drink." And he was so embarrassed in front of his wife. It's unbelievable.
So it should be.
Yeah. He went, and after that, he never contacted me again.
Good. Maybe that guy. Was I here then?
Yeah, obviously you are. They came to the house, so you were obviously here, but you were very little in those days. You know, young. So these are the stories and stuff. But we just kind of filling up the time. If there is any more, anything.
No, I want to say a little piece, Dad.
Absolutely, son.
I like to let you go on one, but I've
No,
got.
yeah.
See, you.
You need to stop me, son. Because
No.
if I go on one,
I like.
will not
Listen,
stop. No.
I like you going on one, Dad. Going off on one.
Yeah.
But I like that you say you're saying your opinion.
Yeah.
And you're older than me, a lot wiser.
Yeah.
So you're saying it from an opinion of an older person, more wisdom and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm still young.
Yeah.
So I've got to give my opinion now.
Obviously,
from
but
a
I don't
young
want to
person's
mention
opinion.
your stuff.
I'll mention my stuff. I'll
Yeah,
mention my stuff.
I know where you're gonna where you're going.
Let's
with
go
it.
there, Dad.
Yeah, but I am not going.
First and foremost,
Yeah.
I want to say that I thank God every day that I've got a dad like this, because my dad is the reason why I didn't go down the route of what a lot of other people I know and who I've been friends with all my life and stuff like that, who have gone down that route. I never went down that route. So that's first and foremost. Second of all, I grew up around drug dealers, and I went to school with young guys who were selling drugs, and their brothers and their cousins and their uncles were selling drugs because of the area that we grew up in. And that's why I'm worried about my kids, them growing up in a certain area, you know, because it's scary. It's a scary thing. That's why I always say to me that I want to move back to Dubai, because Dubai's not got that problem. You know what I mean? Anyway.
Not yet.
Not yet. Well, you never know. You never know. But so I grew up around drug dealers, and I don't have any friends. I don't care about. All I care about is family. I don't really care about friends. I have a lot of acquaintances, a lot of people that I know, but I don't really call them friends. One of my acquaintances, friends, whatever, has just been sent down for 17 years, and he's just had a 1-year-old daughter. His daughter just turned 1 year old. He's not going to see her now because of drug dealing. Yeah. So I have to just say, from my opinion, that it's not worth it. But I do, and I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, I do understand why people sell drugs, because I know what it feels like to have money, and I know what it feels like not to have money. And I know what, in this day and age, like my dad said, there's a lot of stuff online you see, people living the best lifestyle, they've got the best car, clothes, watches, money, lifestyle, everything revolves around money. And when you're not making enough money, and you might apply for loads of jobs and not get a job, or you might get a job and it's not paying enough money, and you know, all you want to do is live that certain lifestyle. You want to do certain things. You want to go on holidays. You want to spend money on, you know, I totally understand it. And this day and age is worse than ever for that kind of stuff. Yeah. And drug dealing is a quick, easy, effortless way of making a lot of money, Dad. You know what I mean? There's no job, there's no way out there you can make money that quick and easy. And that's why you lose it and spend it as quick as well, because like you said to me when I was younger, easy money comes, it goes easy as it comes, you know? Yeah. And I don't agree with drug dealing, but I understand why people do it, Dad. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. I don't agree with it, but I totally understand why people do it. And to be honest with you, now we're going to this bloody recession. Yeah. And we're going into a hard time in the UK. I'm pretty sure a lot more people are going to be doing it than even before. Yeah. And yeah, just like I said, one of my acquaintances is now locked up with he's got 1-year-old daughter on the outside. Yeah. That's enough proof as I can give that it's not worth it, bro. And you know, like my dad said, around money and stuff. My dad told me when I was a young kid as well about how much peace you can get from making halal money and going to sleep peacefully at night, not looking over your shoulder, not worried about who's going to kick your door down, not worried about who's going to try and stab you in the back or trying to hurt you and your family.
That's another very strong point, Harris, you make, because that guy, if you see into that, there are competition out there. You know that people are get shot all the time.
It's a ruthless
and somebody is going to come down and say that you either want to try and take your territory or
easily,
and so it's very, very dangerous and very, very harmful thing you're doing, man. Yeah. And you need to stop. There is a very good saying I say it in Urdu as well, and I say it in English as well, that they said that if your neighbor's, face is red, you can't make yours by slapping your face red. Yeah. In other words, they say that if somebody is healthier, red is not because of some disease or something, but if somebody's healthier and eating good, having a good life and all that carry on, and you don't have the good life, that doesn't mean you're going to stand there and slap your face to make it as red and rosy cheeks as your neighbor.
Yeah.
So that not the thing, but I mean, people have gone down. I mean, you mentioned whatever you mentioned. I mean, I thought there were other things you're going to mention.
I haven't finished it, Dad. But
okay, fine, because I will have some comment on that as well. But
So. Like I said, I grew up around it, and as you guys know, I did a lot of. See, I don't like talking to the camera. I want to talk to you, but you know all this stuff anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But because it's not right to do a podcast sit looking at the camera like this. I'm supposed to talk to you, but you know all this stuff.
Yeah, but anyway, still, it's conversation.
So I grew up around it. Like I remember even prom night. You know, prom night, Dad. You like. People call it different things. In America, it's called prom. In the UK, it's called leavers ball, whatever. Yeah. When you finish high school, you have like a big thing where you tuxedos and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Pictures of that.
Yeah, I remember on that night, even when I left the leavers ball, we went around. Me and my friends went around, and they were all smoking weed, drinking alcohol. I didn't touch the weed. I didn't touch the alcohol, all because of how you brought me up. There's no other reason for it. Otherwise, I would have done it.
Obviously.
It wasn't because I was scared of God, because at that age I didn't care. I know, but I didn't care about that. The
only reason. You say astaghfirullah at the same time when you say something like that.
The only reason I didn't do this stuff is because of you, Dad.
Yeah.
All right? And Mum, obviously, as well.
Yeah.
The only time I ever touched anything was after my mum passed away.
Yeah.
Because I never felt any pain like that in my life. I felt pain before. I lost my sister as well a few years before my mum passed away. That was painful. My sister was like my twin. We were like twins. We were so close and so close in age and everything. We were like pretty much like Cammy and Nora.
Difference.
So, and I had a very close because she was disabled, and I helped her all her life, and I was with her all, so that was painful. But my mum dying was, and I think anybody's mum passing away is, your mother's the most important person in your life. Yeah. So when your mum passes away, that I never felt that pain before. No one could have prepared me for that kind of pain, and I wouldn't know how to prepare somebody if their mum's not passed yet. When she does pass, I don't know how to prepare you for it, but it is the worst pain, and I didn't know how to stop that pain from it was all throughout my body, my mind, everything was just, and so I turned to I tried weed. I tried weed, and it's a hell of a drug, Dad, I'll be honest with you. And I tried alcohol, again, another hell of a drug. Well, I tried them, and they did make me feel better because they took away that feeling, because they made me numb. Like weed makes your mind numb, and you're just in a zone. Same with alcohol. I drank alcohol for the first time when I was 30 years old. Now imagine, I was in nightclubs every single weekend, international nightclubs, not only in the UK, all over and every nightclub they'd offer you drinks, big bottles of champagne, they'd try and give it to you, shots, whatever. I always said no. All those years I didn't touch drugs, I didn't touch alcohol. The only thing I did do was in university, one of my friends gave me an ecstasy pill by accident. That's one off in it, and I lost a couple of days there as well. That I came home and I fell asleep for about 4 days. But
did you?
Okay. But again, and I wouldn't even say that's a good drug. I was a bit happy. That's all. So anyway, forget ecstasy. Yeah. So I tried weed. I tried alcohol. That's all I tried, and I'll never touch them again because my dad made me promise never to touch them again. So fair enough, But where am I going with this story, man?
It's just because you can get into different type of issues and rut and all that carry on. We all are human beings. We all make mistakes. But what is good is that if you learn from your mistakes and you repent, Allah Almighty is very gracious. Allah Almighty is very forgiving. Allah Almighty will forgive you your sins and all your bads. But as long as you then promise and you steadfast, fine. I mean, the pains, I can understand. The certain people have different way of handling their pain. I mean, I rather go and read an extra two nafil, and I go to mosque a little bit more.
But when Mum passed away, I moved away from religion. I understand that. I went away from it rather than towards it.
I swear to you that when I sit down and sometimes I think that if you do something silly, I will die.
Yeah.
Or if I would have thought before you did what you did and you told me, if I would have sat down and thought that Haris is going to go near booze and one day he's going to have a half a bottle of vodka, first time in his life, and then he's going to down that, I would have said, I'm going to disown you.
When you found out that I drunk, I thought you were going to kill me. But you were all right about it.
But when I found out, then I knew exactly, Haris, what was going on in your life. I knew. I'm not stupid. I understand. But if you would not promise me, and that you stop, and you have stopped, I would have cut you off completely out of my life. To be honest with you, I'm very honest here. Yeah. But because you promised and you're sticking to that promise, that's fine. We all make mistakes, but that doesn't mean that we can't stop it. So exactly this is what I'm saying to that guy, that you have seen all that life and you've seen good and bad, both in that life. Yeah. Now is the time to come clean, get away from it, get back to your job. You concentrate on your job, you will get better at your job, and you can get better than what you have at the moment as well. He's Muslim?
Yes, and like you were saying, he faces racism in his workplace. You face a lot of racism in your workplace, Dad.
32 years of my working, 30 years or 32 years working for the council. Trust me, there are different ways they do it. They used to do it openly years and years and years ago, Haris. Then they learned, because a lot of people took them to court and took cases and stuff like that. Now they do it so subtly. Trust me, that sometimes you don't even know that they're doing it. On your face, they'll be smiling and laughing and going out with you. But the true color, I'll tell you a story what happens. I was in one of the jobs, and where I was sitting in a big hall, big kind of area, and my desk was next to two desks. There were two girls sitting, and I was the third person. Yeah. And then there was another guy started, quite a youngish kind of lad, and decent, good looking. Gora,
white
guy, and he joined, and he was sitting in a completely different place. We used to have a lot of laughing because we knew each other for a couple of years. So we used to, and he obviously just joined, so he didn't have that any rapport with anybody. Yeah. But we used to laugh and joke and all the time and have fun. One day, Haris, we went out as a team for a meal. He got drunk. Okay. I used to take, like, you shouldn't have an Asian, I'm telling all the Asians and stuff like that, please trust me. If you feed these people and take samosas and pakoras and all sorts of these things to these people, they will eat it, enjoy it, but they are not your friends. Because I've done it for years, Haris. Yeah. They would love to lick their fingers after eating the food, but behind your back, they're still, So this guy then got drunk, and suddenly he just started on me.
Did he?
Yeah. He said, and I was sat again. Yeah. We were sat two girls and me. I was sat together. We were talking and all the carry on. And he said, "Oh, you bloody hero, you big thing that bring in samosas and all that. You think you are, into with these girls. They don't like you." And there were some senior officers there. Yeah. None of those bastards interfered.
Really?
Right. None of them. There was pin drop silence. And I was just sat there like that, looking at him, because he was coming up with all sorts. Yeah. And those girls were just holding, just saying, don't say anything, kind of like that. So I just sat there. We were in a restaurant in Haris in the city center. Afterwards, when we came back, two of them came to me, senior officers, and I'm really sorry and all that. And I said, shove your sorry where sun doesn't shine. I said, you should have said something. Through the idea. 2-3 days later, somebody made him, and he came and apologized to me as well. But I knew what is in his heart and what is really going on and what they do. So these people are hypocrite. That's the biggest hypocrites going. Not all of them. Obviously, 5 fingers are not equal. There are some decent people as well. But unfortunately, when they're in a company, when they are in a group, even some decent people don't have
The balls.
the gumption, I'm going to say.
The balls. The balls.
To you use your language and I'll use mine.
Okay,
So
gumption.
to stand up to these bullies and stuff like that. So this happens, but you have a way of dealing with that as well, mate. You can nowadays record things on your camera. You can do things, and you can take your own back on them by knowing their weaknesses and stuff like that. Don't be just. I mean, I did that. A very senior manager, Harris, once called me in his office. He came from York, came here, and he thought he was a big gun. York is a bit of smaller city, so obviously the way the things were different than when he came to the bigger council here. And he used to order things like that, and he was knocked off saying, you can't do that here. Oh, I used to do that in York. I don't no, York is different. You can't do it here. So he started having an affair with one of the girls working there.
Flipping hell.
So I had an issue with her and me sitting. She wanted to sit where I was sitting, and she wanted to swap the desk. So my manager once sent an order down saying, so he'll swap the desk with. I wasn't going to take that. I said an email because I knew you cannot do anything verbally because that's not your proof. So every time you do something, you do in writing. I tell everybody, all Pakistanis or Asians who are working anywhere, don't do things verbally, do things in writing. So I sent an email saying, what's the reason? Give me a reason why I should move from there. So now they couldn't answer me, reply to me in writing.
Yeah.
So he called me in his office and he started shouting and all that kind of stuff. A couple of minutes I looked at him and listened to him, and then he said, who do you think you are?
Really?
Yeah, honestly. I said, is this a school? You are a teacher and I'm a student?
Yeah.
So how are you talking to me? Honestly, Harris, he was just stunned for 5 minutes and then he started talking normally.
Yeah.
I'm requesting you. It's a lot of issue going on because of the staffing issue, and there is a reason. I said, but why couldn't you give me that reason in writing? He said, because it's not that if a big issue, that's why. But if you do that, that'll be a favor to me. I said, you should have said that first like that to me. I will move tomorrow, not today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning when I come in, I'll move my desk.
Yeah.
Right? So and then there was social service. We used to work for social services, and so in Marion Center, and it's a huge floor on Marion Center on the third or fourth floor we were at. So when I joined in, I saw two Asian lads working. One working in the home care services, and one were working in finance. Yeah. And they both, my friend, they come to my house. In fact, one of them has sent me a message. There's a book launch in Bradford, and he's wanting me to join. I don't think I'll be going today, but they're all. So what happened was that when we saw each other, we started saying Assalamu alaikum to each other, right?
Yeah.
There were some old biddies working there as well, old white. For some reason, they complained about us.
Okay.
So I was called by my manager's manager, not my manager, my manager's manager called him and their managers, because we all three had different managers.
Yeah.
And they had a meeting and all that carry on. And we were called in individually by manager and told us that we cannot speak in our language in the office.
Because Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. And we had few words as well. We just didn't say Assalamu alaikum. So we didn't just say Assalamu alaikum. We just stood to each other and stood talking to each other for a few minutes and stuff like that. Their managers called them and they said yes, and they walked out, both of them. I'm not going to name them, they're friends, but they didn't do anything. And my manager called me, and my manager just told me, I said, you can't do that. And I said, okay, seriously? I said, yeah. I said, listen, when you go out on your desk, can you send that to me in writing, please? You what? I said, yeah, can you send me in writing that I cannot say hello to my friends who are from Asia, from Pakistan, and I can't say my greetings in the morning when I come in my language.
Yeah.
Write that down and send it to me. His name was Alan Pinder. Alan Pinder was my manager. And he just huffed and puffed and walked out. Next day, I went to his desk and I said, I haven't received the email yet. I'm going to have a meeting with the manager and I'll let you know. I said, okay. In those days, I used to work in a section which used to look at older people who can't look after any shelter homes and stuff like that. So we used to look after their finances. So if they want anything, we will issue a check. I'll issue a check. My manager will sign. My manager will sign it, and then I had to go to the what was this called? Assistant director.
Okay.
Something Hart. His name was.
Forget his name.
Yeah, I used to go to his office to get him countersigned, and then those checks will go out.
Yeah.
So my weekly turn was there. So I took 3 or 4 checks with me and the register which he used to sign and stuff. And I went to his office. And he was a very nice guy. Every time I went just to get the sign, he would sit me down, ask me for a cup of coffee and start talking about it. Oh, my car broke down today and I'm learning how to fix it and all that. He talks about his children. And I just used to listen. I couldn't say anything. He was very, very senior manager. So I just used to. This time when I went down and sat down with him and I said to him, I said, I have to ask you something. He said, what? I said, my manager, I said, there are 3 Asian colleagues of mine who are working down, 2 of them and me. I said, when we come in the morning, we say greetings to each other and stuff like that. And I've been told my manager that we can't speak in our own language. And can you please tell me? And I asked him to send me in writing, and he's not sending me in writing. He's insisting that I do that, but he's not giving me an official
email. Yeah.
He was shocked.
Yeah, of course.
He said, don't worry about it. I'll have a word with it. I said, okay. Harris, a week later, this deputy manager, what do you call, used to call? Anyway, deputy director of social services, he organized a training session for all of that floor to go to how to deal with discrimination.
Sick.
Honest to God, Harris. And I organized that because I went to that. I wasn't going to take any crap from anybody. So I went and organized. And these managers were not pleased.
Obviously.
With me, Harris. So they wanted to get rid of me as soon as they possibly.
They hate you, don't they?
Yeah. I mean,
problem starter.
Harris, I've done so much City Council when I was in there. People used to come to me and say, listen, in head office, your name is in the bold on top of the thingy. Because I wasn't going to take any crap from anybody. I used to say, now Alicia has just started a job at one place, and there is a woman there who at one point became my manager.
Yeah.
I won't say her name because Alicia just joined the job. So I once said to her in the morning, because we had a boiler issue, boiler broke down. And I phoned her about 10 o'clock. I said, listen, my boilers broke down. My wife has gone to work and the kids are going to school and stuff. I have to wait for him because he said he will come between 12 and 1.
Yeah.
So I used to work in Horsforth. So there's no point in me coming to Horsforth and then driving back. So I'm going to work from home. She said, okay, fine. But come back in the afternoon. I said, okay. That guy turned up at 1:15. And then he took about 45 minutes to do and all the carry on. 2:15, after all the paperwork he went. I finished all 5 o'clock. So 3 o'clock, I thought, there's no point in me going in, driving out Horsforth. This takes 20 minutes to drive down to Horsforth. Yeah. So I didn't go. And I didn't ring either. That's my mistake that I should have phoned, but I didn't phone to say that I'm not coming. But I thought it's common sense, if I told him that he's coming between 12 and 1, that's right in the middle of the afternoon. So if he does come at 12 o'clock and take an hour, there's no point in me going back in. So next day I go in and fine, no problem, no issues or everything. And then suddenly I go to make a cup of tea and she comes after me in the kitchen. And the second she entered the kitchen, she started shouting, who do you think you are? And why didn't you ring me? I just kept making a cup of tea. And then I turned, honestly, Harris, I'm telling you the truth. I turned around and I said, Jane, you're going to have a heart attack. Calm down. And I walked down and sat down on my desk. Honestly. So this is, there are different ways of dealing with these people. But you have to be clever. You have to be not nasty. Don't say anything, but, using foul mouth and swearing and all that carry on, but you have to be very, very clever, and you can deal with these people. They're just people like you and me. They're nothing special, man. Come on. In some ways, I used to think these are the people who don't wipe their asses properly. They don't wash it with water. So if some senior manager you are afraid of, think about him sitting on his desk, have the shit still hanging out of the... I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. But, there are ways of dealing with that you can make yourself kind of confident by thinking about that. Who the hell that person thinks he is? Yes, they have a power on me. If they're a senior manager or whatever, they have a power in certain ways. But you are not a slave, man. This is UK we're talking about.
Flipping hell, Pops.
Okay, so we
lost it in this podcast, haven't you? You lost it.
I'm sorry, but that still makes me angry, because I have faced these things and I have dealt with them. But there are a lot of people who don't. Unfortunately, they don't. They just sit there and take the abuse, and they don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I suffered, Harris. I should have retired at least 3 levels higher where I retired now. I retired on a very decent position anyway, alhamdulillah, when I started.
Yeah.
But still, Harris, because of these issues and stuff, and because I took them on, that's why I couldn't go any further. That's why I decided to retire a bit early as well.
You applied so many times for those higher jobs.
Harris,
as well.
yes. And I would have an interview, and somebody junior I've trained for 2 years would surpass me and get that job, and I'll be sitting there.
Yeah.
And their excuse would be, there were 2 people for interview, the other person was... It's 2-horse race.
Yeah. Nice.
That's the only excuse. They never came back with any decent excuse and stuff. And when I took them to court, 3 times, I took them to further, right? And every single time, they, senior management and all that carry on.
Yeah.
They just come back with stupid excuses. Yeah. At one point, what happened was that I applied for a job, and because I applied for the same job 3rd time round, and 2 interviews, they failed me. 3rd time, they decided not to even interview me. So first 2 times, I said, okay, fine. The 3rd time, when they said they can't even shortlist me for the interview, I'm not having it. I went to the chief officer. I wrote an email to him. I said, listen, there were 5 people shortlisted. I wasn't shortlisted. I know all those 5 people who were shortlisted, and none of them can do as better job than me. None of them has as much experience as me. So how come they are shortlisted and I'm not? So I want this to be investigated. What they do normally with investigation, Harris, they take your name off from the top, and they put the number on candidate 1, candidate 2, candidate 3, candidate 4. The chief officer organized an independent panel from a completely different department, send them 3-member panel, send all the applications. When the result came back, I was the top 1 for the interview.
Yeah.
But what the chief officer said, now that's the chief officer saying to me, he sent me an email, said, yes, they have chosen you the top candidate for this interview, but different teams can have different opinions. So on that regard...
Still?
Yeah, after all that, we won't go any further with this.
Oh, mate.
But this is a gentleman's club. The senior, when issue goes on, like City Council says now that we are in trouble and we don't have the budget for the next year, we need billions and all the carry on, so we're going to get it. So what will they do is get rid of the people on a lower salaries. Yeah. If you really want to save the bloody money, get rid of a couple of top ones who are having 150,000 a month salary or 200,000 salary. If you get rid of people who are on 30,000, 40,000, you need to get rid of 15 of them to save some money. And you sack 2 of them at the top. Yeah. And then there is, Harris, what they do is also, they occasionally, after every 5 years or whatever, they reshuffle the departments.
Reshuffle, yeah.
So they get rid of some of the departments and they create new departments.
Yeah. Just
to kind of give jobs to their favorite people and stuff like that, to promote them and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I had a manager, absolutely useless, senior manager, not my manager, my manager's manager. His department finished, but he was in that club. They created another little department and made him head of that department.
Crazy, yeah.
Told him that there is no job for him a month ago, a bit earlier, in an email, but a month later, adjusted him in a completely different position.
Crazy.
So this goes on, but that because of that lad's issue is that as well at workplace.
Yeah.
Trust me, you can fight with these people.
Get past that.
Yeah, you can be, but cleverly. You have to be very, very clever to deal with these people. You don't have to, as you said, if you do anything wrong and swearing and all that kind, which I did in one case and I lost on that case, obviously, because they had the proof of me calling them names and things. But then I became clever and I used to do things in a way that obviously they could not do anything about it because I would be genuinely in the right and they would be wrong. So they couldn't do anything. So yeah, that's another aspect of it, of your email, that you can deal with these bullies and deal with these racist people. There is a way of doing it. Yeah. Right. I think we might need to do the wuzu and we need to go to mosque. So if there is nothing else, we have spoken about all sorts of different things again. Have been no kind of...
It's been a good one, Dad. I enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Fine. You enjoy most of them anyway, but...
I enjoy sitting with you. I enjoy talking to you.
I know, but I hope everybody enjoys that because the thing is, I think...
Don't say it this week, Dad. Please, for the love of God.
No. I'm going to say something different. I'm going to say that before today, I was thinking the last couple of times, the couple of phone calls I've had from, that I need to be a little bit more coded rather than candid. But I'm being very candid because I'm coming out with all sorts, which I shouldn't be.
That's the best way out.
So, well, if people like it, I'll carry on like that. If they don't,
people
then I'll...
loving it, Pops. People love it.
But there are certain things you still... Allah Almighty says, you hide other people's sins, Allah will hide your sins.
Yeah.
If I'm going to splurt out all my sins myself...
No one can split out for you.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So, God help us all. And special prayers for the people again at the end.
Turkey
for
and
the
Syria.
Turkey and Syria people. May Allah Almighty grant shahada to all those people who have died. And also Allah Almighty, heal those who are injured. And Allah Almighty have mercy upon all the Muslims, either in Syria, in Turkey, in India, in Palestine, in Kashmir, everywhere in the world. May Allah Almighty have mercy on all of them and make it easy for every single Muslim on this planet. Ameen. Summa ameen.
Thank you for watching the podcast today, guys. I really appreciate everyone who watches and comments below and supports and everything. Please subscribe, please like, please comment below, and please, most of all, share this podcast with anyone you think who might enjoy it, your family, your friends, your parents, whatever. And please send in your emails for anything you want to talk about from next week. The email address is on screen right now, heavyhitterzpodcast@gmail.com. Send in your emails. You'll stay anonymous. And it'll keep the podcast going as well because it'll give us something to talk about as well. So, thank you very much, guys. We'll see you same time, same place next week.
Inshallah.
Safe.